The mother of a Northwest teenager who was murdered for stealing a sunflower will not accept an apology from the convicts. Agnes Moshoeu has been testifying at the sentencing hearing of Phillip, Schutte and Pieter Doorewaard. They were convicted of killing her son Matlumula in Coligny in 2017. Now, our colleague Malungelo Boy is in Mahikeng this morning as he continues to follow that case for us. Malungelo, very good morning to you. We've heard the reports that the mother says she's got nothing to do, she doesn't want anything to do or to talk to the people who were involved in the killing of her son. Tell us more about that mother's testimony.
That's right, Braden. In fact, Agnes Moshoeu spent about 5 hours on the stand yesterday detailing how she was hurt and in pain over the killing of her son. She told the court, Braden, that her 6 other children were actually battling to accept that their brother is also no more. She said that she does not want to meet with these 2 men who had actually killed her son over a sunflower, and said that these men have actually showed no remorse whatsoever. What also came out from her testimony, Braden, and what's become clear is that Mrs. Moshoeu only got to know that it was her son who had died who had died 2 weeks later after this incident. We know that residents in Coligny had actually gone on a search and looking for the parents of the teenager who was said that had been killed over a sunflower. Mrs. Moshoeu telling the court that he had been asking from residents, who is this boy who had been killed, because her son had not been at home for about 2 weeks. She had become worried and anxious when her teenage son did not come back home. We've also heard, Braden, how she actually had from her colleagues who were telling, who were just having a chat about a young boy who was killed and over a sunflower, and that she had no inclination whatsoever that it was her son that had been killed, that her 2 colleagues were talking about.
Okay, now what do we expect to happen in court today, Malungelo?
Well, yesterday, Braden, we've heard the state the defense telling the court that the 2 men, that's Pieter Doorewaard and Phillip Schutte, had in fact requested to meet with the family of Moshoeu. Well, what we told they wanted to do, they wanted to convey their condolences and offer and also tell the family of Moshoeu that they regret the loss of life. Well, Mrs. Moshoeu said she was not prepared to meet with these 2 men and their families. But today we'll hear the final argument. The state and the defense will put on the last show, really. They have to convince Judge Ronnie Hendricks on why, the state will have to convince Ronnie Hendricks why these 2 men should be handed life behind bars. Well, the defense will argue for a lesser sentence.
Okay, thank you very much. Malungelo Boy out in Mahikeng ahead of the resumption of that case.